This woman woke up and found one hand handcuffed. She turned to her husband and questioned him. But the next thing she knew, she was dumbfounded by his sudden move. She rolls out of bed, only to find the other end of the handcuffs on her husband's hand. She tried to break free and screamed for help, but it was all in vain. Looking at her husband's dead body, she didn't feel a trace of sadness. She got up and grabbed a phone from the bed, only to find that it had been destroyed. She then picked up the pistol on the floor, but it was empty. The first thing to do was to find a way out of the situation. She dragged the body to the check room and found a wedding dress hanging inside. She pulls it down and behind it is a safe deposit box. She didn't have time to think about it, so she put his body into the dress and dragged him downstairs. She went to the living room to look for her cell phone, but found it in a vase soaking in the bath. Then she went to the kitchen and searched around but found nothing. She then went down to the basement and found the tools there had been emptied. Fortunately, she found the key of her husband's car in a trash can. With all her strength, she dragged the body to the garage. She smiled when she turned on the engine. But the moment she turned off the engine, she cried. She opened the car door and saw that the gas tank had been drained. It seems that her husband was trying to kill her. She had no choice but to go back inside again and try to figure out what to do. When she found a dark room, she understood what was going on. The woman's name is Emma. Her husband, Mike, is an entrepreneur. He's young and talented, but he spends a lot of time out of the house, causing their relationship to fall apart. To get back at her husband, Emma decided to return the favor by having an affair with Tom, her husband's subordinate. Looking at the photos of her and Tom, she understood that her husband was trying to get back at her. But why would he want to kill himself? Just when she was wondering, there was a knock on the door. She opens the door and it's Tom. Tom said he had received a message from Emma yesterday asking him to come here, and that Mike's company was suspected of committing a crime and was being investigated by the police. Emma understood everything instantly. Her husband knew he was about to be killed, so he'd set up a trap to bury her and Tom together. But Emma wasn't going to sit around and wait for it to happen. She told Tom to call the police. Just then, a car came from the distance. Tom senses something's wrong. He tells Emma to lock the door, and he stays outside to observe the situation. A strong man named Bobby and a thin man named Jimmy got out of the car. Without saying a word, they came up and stabbed him. Before Tom could say hello, he was killed instantly. Then the door was kicked open. Emma was so scared that she hid against the wall and didn't dare to breathe. Luckily, they didn't find her. Suddenly the two of them got into a fight. The thin man said he only wanted to make money and not to kill. But it was done. They had to go on. The two killers break into the woman's house. Emma hides in a corner in fear. While Bobby was upstairs searching the house, Emma fled quietly through the back door to the warehouse, dragging the body with her. In the warehouse she finds a small boat and finally finds something useful. She dries off the boat's anchor and slams it into her husband's arm. And the blood stains left by the body caught the attention of the thin man. He followed the blood trail to the warehouse, and when he looked closer, he saw a dead body on the floor. He was so scared that he ran back to call Bobby. When they arrived again, Emma had managed to get out of her handcuffs and was hiding under the floor. Although they didn't find Emma, the footprints on the floor led them to conclude that Emma was nearby. She couldn't have gotten far in the freezing cold with her bare feet, so they went back into the house to look for her. Soon they found the safe in the house. It turned out that they were the killers sent by Mike. The diamonds in the safe were their reward for completing their mission, but only Mike's fingerprints and Emma's passwords could open the safe. The two of them decided that Jimmy would go ahead and get Mike's body. Bobby stayed behind to continue the search for Emma, and Emma didn't stop trying to survive. She tore up her wedding dress and wrapped it around her feet, then found a barrel of gasoline in the boat. It seems that there is no way out. She then dragged the barrel to the garage. Suddenly Jimmy opened the door and came out. She had no time to hide and lay down on the ground. The skinny guy didn't notice that there was a living person over there. She arrived at the garage with the oil drum without any problem. But when she was moving the oil drum, she made a noise. Bobby heard the sound and came in to check. Emma heard Bobby's footsteps and hid in time. Then the two played hide and seek. Bobby, who felt something strange, slashed the tire. Emma saw the situation and had to sneak out of the garage, but turned around and found Jimmy, who was carrying the body. She was saved by the basement, but excitement always comes in quick succession. Bobby turns around and finds the basement, too. He came in with a flashlight to check it out. There was nowhere to hide. Emma remembered the car keys in her pocket, with the two of them attracted by the sound of the car alarm. Once again, Emma was able to get out of trouble. She took the opportunity to put on Tom's clothes and hide in the attic. But the incident also made the two of them conclude that the art of destruction is hidden in the house, and immediately went back to the house to start a carpet search. Bobby soon found the attic. He unraveled the rags. Emma came out from behind and beat him to the floor with a bat. Jimmy, who heard the commotion, rushed to the house. Emma rushes out with another blow. She then grabs Bobby's car keys and runs to the car. But before she could sit down, Bobby broke the glass and came over. Emma was then dragged out of the car and kicked unconscious. When she came to her senses, the familiar handcuffs once again held her and her husband together. Bobby pulls out the safe and asks for the combination. Emma said she didn't know either. Bobby didn't believe her, so he took off his shoes and tried to give her a pedicure with a knife. Jimmy next to her can't stand it. He picks up the gun under the bed to stop Bobby, but they did not know that the gun was not loaded. Bobby was forced to stop because of the threat of the gun. Then the three of them made a deal. Jimmy uncuffs her. Emma gives out the combination in the body's fingerprints, and the safe opens. Bobby pulled it out, but it was a saw, and the saw said the diamonds were hidden in Emma's necklace. The necklace was an anniversary gift from her husband. Once it was on, it couldn't be taken off. Bobby looked at the saw in his hand and instantly realized that this wasn't for them to cut the necklace, but for them to cut Emma. I couldn't help but admire how deep the husband's heart could go. How could he be so mean? Hearing this, Jimmy rushed to stop and took out a vise to try to cut the necklace. But it was just a waste of effort. While Jimmy was cutting the necklace with a big anchor, Bobby grabbed the pistol from his waist. Then he shot Jimmy with one hand. He raises his hand and fires at Emma, but there was no bullet in the gun. Emma takes the opportunity to run for the dagger, but Bobby pushes her to the ground. He grabs the saw and starts to do it. Jimmy lunges to stop him, but Bobby slams him into the wall. The back of his head hit the hook on the wall, and he died instantly. While Bobby was in a daze, Emma grabbed a dagger and hit him, but she was knocked to the ground after 2 strokes. She also received a knife to the leg. Fortunately, the second stab was blocked by a picture frame. She turned around and picked up a vise. A plier knocked Bobby over. She then gave him a taste of the handcuffs as well. She fled in a heap. Bobby dragged the body in pursuit. She ran all the way to the garage. Bobby soon came after her. Emma backed up and Bobby quickly dodged. He was about to taunt her about her driving skills, but the next thing he knew, he was on the hood. The car also lost air in one of the tires and went out of control and crashed into the warehouse. She got out of the car and fled, but the knife wound in her leg made it impossible for her to walk. And Bobby got up again and chased after her. Finally, he grabbed Emma's ankle, pulled out a dagger and stabbed her. Then he grabbed Emma and slammed her into the ice. At the critical moment, Emma to the face of a backhanded knife. Bobby fell to the ground in pain, and the impact of his fall instantly crashed through the ice. He strangled Emma to death. In a panic, Emma felt the dagger in his chest, pulled it out, and backhanded a knife. Bobby was sunk by the body at the bottom of the lake. Emma swims up and frantically slaps the ice, but she gradually ran out of energy. The flame of life is also dying out little by little. Suddenly the ice is pierced by a knife. She crashed through the ice and climbed out of the water. And the first thing she did after the disaster was to take off her wedding ring.